Hey guys, welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. Welcome to the last video of the year and also the favorite one because it is the top 10 video. I read 104 books this year. Yeah, most book ever. Last year was 100, exceeded that. It's not a goal anymore. I'm just pushing and just keep on reading, and I've been able to hit those numbers. Now this year I read a lot of good books. There are some duds at the end, but for the most part, especially the beginning of the year, I read a lot of books that I love. So picking the top 10 was not easy for me because there were so many books that I thought about where I'm like, let's, switch it out with this book. Then I'm like, so at the end I was like, you know what, this is it. This is the book, this is the top 10. These are the books that I would reread. These are the books that I love for different reasons. A lot of these books this year I call personal read. These are books that inspired me. These are books that I felt connected to in some way. Pieces of me on the pages. I understood the characters very well. I love the writing style of the author. I love the creativity of the stories. So I was picking books based on how these books made me feel, not so much of if the book is popular, everybody love it, that kind of deal. I never go by that. It's so how I feel about the books. And these are the 10 that I feel I got something from that stick with me. Most of them was read, like I said, the first half of the year and stick with me, and I love it. I remember so much about it still, where I can still review these books. However, this is not a review video. This is more me telling you why I love the book, why this made the top 10. I would link the reviews I did for these books, that if you want to go check it out. I did a lot of reading vlog. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. So the first book is from an author that I highlighted because I read for her book, and that's Elizabeth Strout. And my favorite book of the 4 books that I read was Anything is Possible. And I love this book, especially there's a mother-daughter character in this. And I remember reading this book thinking to myself, like, she really got me with that storyline. And I review this because I read all that. So the story, the chapter is Mississippi Mary. And because I have that wonderful relationship with my mother, but it's also a complicated relationship with my mother as well. So I understood the chemistry and the issues and the things that they had to work through. And also I was really clapping for the mother of starting over and, experiencing love a different way that she never had before. And this book really dig into this town. This is following Lucy Barton town, and you learn about these different people that live there, and there's so many people storyline that's intertwined in throughout this that I was like fist pumping this book because I love this book so much. And apparently it's not everybody's favorite out of the series, but I've only read 3 of the 4 books in the series, and this was my favorite. Love it. The next book is a book I talked about a lot, and no one would be surprised that this made my top 10, and that is Sister, Mother, Warrior. Vanessa Riley is just, she just know how to give me a historical fiction. A historical fiction that I absolutely love, that I thought was just well done, amazing, just everything that I wanted, and I was so like, yes. And this follows women that were a part of the Haitian Revolution, and these women play an important role to the men that we all hear about in the history books. And these women were there. These women were beside these men and experienced a lot. And this book, she really did her research and dig and talked about a lot of things that were like not so great, but it's also about survival. It's about freedom, and it's about doing things that sometimes are tough to think of, but at the same time, at all costs, freedom had to happen. So I love this, and it is, again, she makes my top 10 another year. I just love her historical fiction. I just love it. The next book on my list is one of the most uncomfortable books that I've read this year. Took me out of my element, had me like scratching my head, had me feeling scared to turn the next page. And that was James Baldwin, Tell Me How Long the Train's Been Gone. James Baldwin took a character and stripped the character down to the bones and exposed so much about this character, the good, the bad. It's the sexuality issues, the love, the family bond, racial issue. But this is a man who had a heart attack. This is a man who was in the prime of his acting career, had a heart attack, and then there's that reflection of digging up everything and thinking about your life, thinking about how you even got into your career, thinking about things that you had buried and now it's up, and what do you do with that? How do you deal with all these things, these feelings that's just popping up now that your life is you know, your days are numbered in retrospect to your health. The writing, the metaphors of what it means to act. There are so many things about this book. At one point I had so much sticky that I took a lot of them out because I was running out, and I just took some out. But there's so many things in this book that I would reread this just because I think there's so much more unpacking that I could do with this book. But James Baldwin is my favorite author. He really knows how to give me what I want when I think of certain books that I want to really to shake me a little bit. And he shook the hell out of me with this one. I was like, wow, yeah. The next book on my list is a book that a lot of people read throughout their life but me. It's okay though. I finally got it, and I'm glad I got it and read it as an adult, and that is Animal Farm. George Orwell. Let me tell you. This book is short, it is politically driven, it is socially driven, it is psychologically driven, and it is so relevant to now and how he was able to create a story. This came out, I believe, in the 40s. And just to create a story like this using animals, but there's like that deep underlying message that you are scratching your head like, ain't a damn thing changed. Nothing's changed. Not a damn thing. And then I'm like, oh, he was brilliant for this. And how many people probably didn't even register what it means, because they usually throw this at kids. If I was reading this as a kid, it would have never, I would have never been able to fully understand this as I do as an adult. And I love it. Definitely a book I recommend that everybody should read. And I think if you read it in school and you did not like it, you didn't get it, read it as an adult, and I guarantee you there's going to be a whole different aspect of this that you're going to absorb compared to at a young age. So I was here for this. The next book made the Booker, and it was one of my favorite. Didn't win, but that's okay. And that's The Tree. Percival Everett. And I love this. This is a satire. This is a suspense, bit of a mystery. You know, some murder happening. Some things that you probably shouldn't laugh about, but it's just how it's told. Creepy as hell. But the writing. The writing. Like, this is a creative writing book. This is an author that has published so many books. He is a professor. He has nothing to lose. He's not proving nothing. He just went for it and said, you know what, I'm just going to write this. I'm going to be creative as hell with my sentence structure, with my paragraphs. I am going to be extra and I don't care. And it worked. It worked. I love this. The writing was like, just blew my mind with this, and the story as it is funny as hell and very much creepy as hell as well. Loved it. Loved the storyline. Loved where it took me. Loved turning the page and seeing how he's writing this. Love it. Creative writing. Yes. Then the next book is a classic. And my books are out of order. Hold a minute. Here we go, sorry. Next book is a classic, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray. Guys, we're talking years. I had this on my bookshelf for years. This was also supposed to read, I was supposed to read this book back in sophomore year of high school. Y'all, some of y'all know how old I am. That should tell you how long I've had this book. Masterpiece. You know, Oscar wrote a story that was very entertaining, gothic horror at its best. I've never been into that kind of genre, but this creepy as hell, but I loved it. I love this one character in this who constantly would talk about certain things that I'm like, what? So basically you have an artist who's painting this character, Dorian, and there is this other character, third party, and there's this, what this painting represents. And you have three opinions of the painting, but there's one main character who is affected by the painting, and you get this, it's a metaphor. So as the story goes on and you get to the end, there's things that's gathering and you're like, but there's that one third party that is stirring the pot, and the comments and the things that he says. I mean, I did a reading vlog on this because I had to share some of the lines from this. I tabbed the hell out of this because there's so much things about this where I'm like, I'm scratching my head like I don't like what he said. Oh, that's messed up about women. But at the same time, I'm like, but it's true. That's the reaction I was having. Love this. It is short but sweet, worth the read. Mad that I took this long to read this book and it's been sitting on my shelf. Y'all know one of my projects is to go through this shelf and see what is on this, what classic are left on my shelf that I haven't read. I'm pretty sure I've read at least 80% of the books on here, but it might be some gems in there. Like this was a gem. This was a gem this year. The next book is a Booker list, and you guys know this was my favorite, and that is Glory. Novelet Bulawayo. Yeah, I think I got it now. And this one was inspired by Animal Farm. So I read Animal Farm because of this book. And I love when a book do that to me, where you pick up something else that was inspired because of that book. And this book is just amazing how the animals were selected to play what character. There's that message behind that. There's that political storyline with this, where you have the old horse who's been in power for so long and do not want to, but he got knocked down, and there's chaos. And there's the devil you know, the devil you don't know kind of situation. And there are different political things happening, and there's one particular animal character in this that I thought was just such a powerful moment with her, as she is having this speech and things are happening around her and she is still speaking. I love it. This is also, I feel, another creative writing moment. I was very entertained. I laughed. I had aha moments. I had fist pump moments. I had moments of sadness. I've had different emotion with this, but I will never forget this book. This is one of those Booker books that I feel like will stay with me for a while. I definitely want to reread this because I really enjoy this book. The next book on my list is a classic, and this classic is one that I know a lot of people love, and so do I. And that is a Dickens, and that is David Copperfield. Love this. This is a story told by a man who is just telling his life. You learn about his coming into this world, his parents, his stepfather and his aunt, and all these people where I call the chosen family that became important to him, and the relationship between a son and a mother, and how that the things that he saw and how it influenced him, even selecting the woman that he wanted to be with, and the woman that he ends up with, that kind of deal. But I love how this Dickens like gave me a bit of a surprise, because I've read 10. This is Dickens number 10. And how sometimes you think he's going this way and he just do a completely different thing. I just love the relationship that he had with several characters in this, and how you know, he become this man and knew his worth, and knew what he was gonna accept, and also find a voice. He was often didn't have a voice in this, and there's that moment where he finally had a voice and was able to stop and do what he couldn't have done for his mother. And I love this. This is just a journey of a man that you will just fall for. He's just a really good man in this, and you will love this main character. Love this. It's a chunky one, but it was worth it. I did not feel it for the most part. I think this is one of those Dickens that you just, I really read few people who really don't like this one. This is one of the popular one that's loved by many, and I could see why. And the movie with Sally Field was an A. So after you read this, go watch that movie. The next two book, it is hard for me to decide which one was my favorite. Be honest with you, I couldn't pick, because it's different reason. These two are personal reads. These two I felt connected to. I felt I understood, and there's also that yearning of things that I wish would happen, because I too got daddy issues. So we have Don't Cry For Me, Daniel Black. I read this and I literally was trying not to cry, but it didn't work. I did cry. I thought it was that apology that a lot of us who have that issue is waiting for and probably will never get. And to have a character, this man who is having that pouring out his entire being to his son, and you learning why he made such a bad decision when it comes to his son, but also the relationship he had with his son mother, and you're really getting so much of him that you wonder about fathers like this who are out there, and how do they really feel, or you know, of some of the choices they make from that mentally harm their kids, mentally, where you're long for certain things that you're just never going to get because that person never understood or even acknowledged their fault. And in this you get a character who acknowledged his fault and the wrongs and the things that he knew that he should have done better. And it is what it is kind of deal, but it is very much an emotional read. There is going to be a part 2 to this, which I'm looking forward to, which will be from the son perspective. But I do feel like it is short. It's not a long read, but I think for some of us with that issue, this is going to hit you hard if you pick this up. So yeah, this one did it. And then of course the book that I talked about on this channel, I think I did at least 4 videos this book showed up in, and that is Lucy by Jamaica Kincaid. I read it twice, because the first feeling I thought, why am I having this feeling for this book? And then the second time I read it, I realized, yeah, this is real, because there was bits and pieces of this person who is 19, this young girl who is trying to discover what love is, true love, and the relationship that she has, complicated relationship with her mother, and she's leaving her island to work for a family in America, a family who is broken and who is dealing with so much that she's witnessing. And in this, there's a moment of missing home and missing the thing that you thought you would have hated. And that moment in your life where something you just like, I can't wait to this, I can't wait to that. And when you do it, you realize, wow, I miss that thing I thought I hated so much. I miss that home or that place. And I love this. I love how she wanted to love. There's a particular line at the end that I love. And this is like a journal entry. So you guys know I'm big on journaling. And Lucy Josephine Potter. At the sight of it, many thoughts rushed through me, but I could write down only this. I wish I could love someone so much that I would die from it. And then, as I look at this sentence, a great wave of shame came over me, and I wept and wept so much that the tears fell on the page and caused all words to become one big blur. I cried. I literally cried. I cried the first time I read this. I cried. I remember just thinking, wow, Jamaica Kincaid, this was a personal read. And I know everybody has that book that you don't care if anyone doesn't like it. You don't care about how it make anyone else feel, because this is like that personal read, that book that grabbed you and you hold dear to you, and you will always want to read it and read it and read it. And I probably will read it again, no doubt about it. But I highly recommend it. And if you've read it, comment on it. And let me know what book that you felt was a personal read for you. Swept you up and have you feeling such an emotional connection to a storyline. Let me know. And that is it, guys. I am done. 31 videos, guys. And I can't speak. I can't speak now. But I am going to take a long week off of cleaning, but not really off, to be honest with you. I'm going to be doing some other project, but it's not going to be any video for a while, for at least another week. I will have shorts. There will be some shorts because I know a lot of you guys wanted to see my junk journal that I made, which will be a short video with just me flipping through the pages and showing you what it looks like. But follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and I will be active as much, but there is going to be a video. The next video is probably going to be long, guys. The next vlog, because there's so much projects that I want to start doing, and the bookshelf is going to be talked about. So let me know, what is your favorite book you read? Book you read in 2022. Just leave it down the bottom. I want to see what people's favorites are, and I will definitely check it out, because you guys know I'm going to do a new series next year, which is basically reading a book recommended by a subscriber. I can't speak, guys. That's give me the clue in this video. So alright, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in 2023. I wish you all a very happy, productive, everything you want, with good health, of course, in 2023. Alright, guys, see you. Bye.